So, what is a line? A lot of times when we're talking about this in algebra class, you'll have your teacher talk about a line. More frequently, what they're going to say instead of a line, they're going to say linear equation. Notice how when you see the word linear equation, stuck inside that word is still the word line. So keep that in mind when you're working. Now, there are two ways to think about a linear equation or a line. One way is graphing, and one way is algebra. These are kind of the two biggies that we have in math is the graph and the algebra. When it comes to the graph, let's start putting up an XY coordinate system. We'll just put something simple down there. I'm going to label my x-axis and my y-axis. A line on that, I'm going to make my line in pink, will look something like this. Oops, let's actually make it a straight line. I like this feature. And we're going to give it a little arrow on the end. Our line can have any sort of slope, so it can go up, it can go down, it can go just straight across, and this is what a line is going to look like. So we're always talking about a straight line, nothing curvy when we talk about a line in algebra. When it comes to the algebraic way of talking about it, this is more old school. So graphs are something, on a side note, that came about in the 1700s with Rene Descartes. He was a really lazy mathematician, and he didn't want to write out algebra equations for the rest of his life. He thought it was boring and dull. So he came up with this idea of an XY axis and used pictures to describe the math. Thank goodness, because so many of us learn through pictures much better than we learn through the algebra. However, we still need the algebraic, the letters and numbers to talk about these concepts. So one of the main ways that we're going to see a line is we're going to see the equation y is equal to mx plus b. So a lot of you have probably seen this in class before. This is called the slope-intercept form. And in this particular equation, m is our slope of our line. That's how fast it goes up or down. And b is our intercept. And when we say intercept, we mean our y-intercept in particular. So where it crosses the y-axis. So this is our first, I'm going to highlight this one. This is the first way that we look at this algebraically. Now there's a second algebraic write-up for a line, and this one I like as well. We usually use something of the form y minus y naught is equal to m and then open parentheses x minus x naught. Now this form looks a little bit different, but it's the same exact concept. If you graph this out, both of them are going to give you this nice picture of a straight line. When you're looking at the second description, this is called the point slope form. And there are two pieces of information that we use to create this particular equation. One is a point, which we are going to label x naught comma y naught. And the second one is our slope. Notice we use the same letter m for our slope here. So here is our second method. Both of them are equivalent. You can take one of these equations and turn it into the other equation and vice versa. One of them is more useful in general. The y is equal to mx plus b is kind of considered the cleaner form. That's the one your teachers usually want you to get to. However, the point slope form is usually the easiest to start off with. So if you're ever asked to graph or to find the equation of a line, especially if you're given 2 points, start out with the point slope form. That is the way to go. Thanks for listening.